mercifully forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. 1, 2, 3, Hawks!
Let's go, Slides!
The Humber College Hawks are one of the top college basketball teams in Canada, winning 4 national titles in the past decade. The last came 6 years ago, but this year they hope to end the drought. The season begins tonight with a crosstown matchup against George Brown College. It's the start of a 6-month drive for a national championship. The daily grind of a long season will exact a heavy toll, physically, mentally, and emotionally. The challenges the players will face over the next 6 months are not confined to a basketball court. All the players are full-time students. Most have part-time jobs. Many have family responsibilities. For young men in their early 20s, it's a lot to deal with.
They have to balance school, work, and basketball. They're very onerous demands. This is the reality, and we got to work around that and still have a very competitive team.
Mike Cates has coached Humber for the past 16 years.
Nobody goes to the board. Don't you go to the board?
He's also an assistant coach on Canada's national basketball team.
Our job is to take people, young people, and turn them out into citizens who can achieve outside of basketball.
Shot! Board! Crash that thing. Crash it. It's a weak side. Go to the glass.
I'm competitive when it comes to basketball coaching. I want to win games.
Don't let him catch it!
Tonight's game doesn't go well. The team never gets into sync. Humber goes down by 9. They didn't expect to lose, especially on their home court.
Hold your shoes, Benny. All right, we got beat tonight. In the end, we got beat. The only thing is that you're not going to win every game you play, and you got to come back tomorrow, and you got to decide we're going to work harder, and that's just the way it is.
Finish? Good. Let's go. Go to the board. Nothing's in till it's in.
It's been 3 weeks since the loss to George Brown. The team has been pushing hard in practice and has won 2 games in a row. They're preparing for next week's game against arch-rival Sheridan College. This year, one of Sheridan's star players, Chris Bennett, has transferred to Humber. At first, Coach Cates wasn't sure if Chris would fit in with his team.
I do respect his play, and he's a winner. But at the same time, he's undersized. He's 6'1". He's playing the post, and he's a little heavy. And you think, well, I'm not sure we really want this player. It turns out that right now he's our best player, so I'm glad he came.
It is unusual for a player to change schools in his final year.
All summer long, I was contemplating, should I do it, should I not? And then I just said, you know what, leave to bigger and better things, and I made the decision to do it. So I wanted the opportunity to play some basketball with my brother.
Chris's brother, Marcel, is the captain of the Humber team. Chris and Marcel are half-brothers. They have the same father, but different mothers. Chris didn't find out Marcel was his brother until he was 13.
My father always used to come for me, and when me and him would go on road, he'd say, look, there's your little brother. And he used to be a small, little, skinny guy. I knew who he was, but I'm not too sure if he knew who I was.
They didn't actually meet until a few years later at a basketball tournament.
And I looked at him and I know this guy from somewhere. And
then Chris came up to me and said, who's your father? And I said, oh, my father's Robert Lynch.
Yeah, and I said, guess what, we're brothers.
And I was like, what are you talking about?
Chris and Marcel have played against each other in the last 3 Ontario championships. Chris's Sheridan team won 2 of those matchups.
I want to say I was trying to beat Chris. I'd say I'm trying to beat Sheridan. I don't care who was on the team. I want to win.
Skinny is the heart and soul of the team. It's more than just the way he plays the game. It's the energy and the attitude he brings to practice. He's always pretty focused. He really cares about the team's welfare.
Both Chris and Marcel have won provincial championships, but neither has won the ultimate prize.
We both know that this is our last chance for that national championship. So we're taking this very seriously.
We're not going to be satisfied playing together and losing. We want to be satisfied with playing together and winning.
I want to go out with a bang, get that ring finally. Come back next year, see the team raise the banner, have my name on it, and smile just one more time.
Well, if that's their goal, that if we don't win a national championship, then their whole season and their career has therefore been not fulfilled. I mean, that's a very difficult way to go through life. The all or nothing scenario, where if you don't achieve your biggest goal, you are a failure.
What's your goal?
To win a national championship. And the season wouldn't be a success otherwise.
Tonight's game against Sheridan will be a big test for the team. It's early in the season, but tonight's game against Sheridan is important. Another loss at home would be a real setback.
Pick the ball up!
Midway through the first half, Humber jumps out to a 10-point lead.
Forward! Come on, Fitz, get there, Fitz!
But Sheridan goes on a run and climbs back to within a point. Along with Chris and Marcel, Cornell Jr. Brown is one of Humber's key players.
Junior's a gifted player. I mean, he's a very good passer when he makes good decisions. He's a tremendous three-point shooter.
Hard, JB, hard, baby!
It's in the other areas that I feel he still has to improve. His work ethic, his defense, sustaining his concentration.
Move it, JB, move!
Hungry-wise, I think I turned that on and off, which isn't good, being that I should be a veteran and I should be hungry at all times.
6 years ago, Junior was one of the best high school players in the country.
My younger brother, well, he was talented from a young age. He had gone out to different tournaments and people were saying, holy, this kid's only 14, 15 years old and he's already doing the things that 19-year-olds are doing. So he's that much ahead. Now, how he progressed after that was going to determine how well he's going to do. And he kept getting better and better and better, so.
No one was surprised when big-time U.S. colleges came calling. For Junior, it meant a chance to realize his dream of playing in front of thousands of fans and appearing on national television.
I walk down the street and people tell me that's JB's brother. you know, instead of the other way around, where that's Coach Brown's brother, it's JV's brother, you know. Community-wise, top player means king of the hill.
This is all I can find right now. Here's one when I was going out to school.
Junior accepted a basketball scholarship to a college in Kansas, but a knee injury ended his dream.
And he was disappointed and is disappointed, but he still go on. We were hoping that it would have, taken him further, but these things happen.
Grab my wallet from you, Tom?
After he hurt his knee, Junior came back home. He lives with his mother, his sister, and his nephew.
I always stress education. You have to have an education. It's not all about sports.
Junior enrolled at Humber, but he didn't play basketball his first year at the college.
I was still, I guess, shaken up from what happened to me in America. I was just mad. Came back home. I would look for my friends on TV now and be like, oh my goodness. I could be right there right now, and I'm here at home chilling.
Last year, Humber's coaches convinced him to play again.
They were really on me, like kind of get over it type of thing. He still got enough skill to be playing here and doing well, so I was like, yeah, you're probably right.
I don't know his level of commitment. If he plays well and is committed to what we're trying to do on both ends of the court, then the team, our chances, are enhanced. There's no question about that. I believe that if you made this total commitment, I think you'll enjoy your last season, I mean, you're going to want to do it. I mean, I don't know. I think that it's still worth your while.
With a few minutes to go in the first half, Humber edges ahead.
You're not trading baskets here. We're going to defend like crazy. This is your chance to blow it out here. A little press if we need it. Let's go. Let's go. Tougher now.
But Sheridan won't go down without a fight. Humber heads to the locker room with a narrow lead. They'll have to step it up in the second half. Chris lives with his mother and his 11-year-old sister. His parents separated when he was an infant. Chris didn't see his father again until he was a teenager.
It was Christmas, and Christopher came to me and asked me, where's his dad? And I told him that, okay, maybe it's time you know your father, And I called his grandmother up and told her that Christopher would like to meet with Robert. And she was very, very happy. And about 5-10 minutes afterwards, she called back and Robert called. And he said, could you come and pick up Christopher? I said, yeah, I think you should. He wants to meet with you.
I was like, yes, I was so happy and I was so excited about it. And then he came and picked me up like 2 days before Christmas, and I spent that whole Christmas with him. And I was there with my little brothers and stuff. And ever since that Christmas, it's been this way. They can't get rid of me, and I can't get rid of them.
Robert Lynch is Chris and Marcel's father.
Lucky
What was the one-on-one? Yeah, Chris was upset quite so. I'm old now. Right. This was Christopher here about 3 months. About 3 months old. And that's Marcel. Oh, he used to be so fat. But I love him, man. Call him Porky, by the way. That's his nickname, Porky. Because he used to be so chubby, you know.
Chris has a relationship with Robert, but Marcel doesn't.
Looking good?
Marcel lives with his mother, his two younger brothers, and his stepfather, Winston Archibald.
I have lots of
Winston Archibald, he's my dad. I consider him my dad. He raised me. He came to some football games, some basketball games. It's not who made you, it's who raised you. You know, and Winston raised me to become a better man, so that's my dad.
No squeeze. Dunk it. Come again.
Like with me and Chris, we were brothers, but we had to build that relationship up to where I can say, yeah, he's my brother, you know.
I'm happy having him around. It just feels good that we're able to play basketball and get an education and do a lot of stuff together that maybe eluded us as younger children.
How many offensive boards, Doug?
5.
Well, but in the end, it comes down to the war on the boards, get the glass, get the loose ball, be hungry. They're always hungry, and we're in and out.
This is a game that we need for standings and everything. It's early, but it's not that early. And you have to suck it up, and you got to play better than we did. I don't care what the score is now. I want to see a great second half.
The team explodes at the start of the second half. Within 10 minutes, Humber has a 28-point lead. The big lead allows the coach to put some of his bench players into the game. All the players were stars in high school. They're not used to sitting on the bench.
Do a couple. How would you practice by yourself? This is how I'm teaching you how to practice here.
Earlier in the year, rookie Quentin McLeod spoke to the coach.
Under the ball.
He felt he should be playing more.
Good. That's where you start.
Through my high school, I never really had to take a back seat to anyone. I always proven myself, and right now I find it kind of difficult to make the adjustment.
Coach Cates first saw Quentin play at a community center 3 years ago.
And it was a tough pickup game. These kids are very intense, and I remember that Quentin just stood his ground, and he was kind of fearless, and I kind of admired that.
He's got to look at his career at Humber College over 2 and 3 years, and not necessarily right away, but that's not something first-year players can handle easily.
But basketball isn't the only thing on Quentin's mind.
My ultimate goal is to get my chef training, go into the industry and having a full-time job as a chef.
Quentin's girlfriend, Stacy, works part-time at a fast food restaurant. Stacy is finishing high school. She and Quentin rent a basement apartment near Humber.
Going to school full-time and then also then being on my own it's a lot to take on one man's shoulder. I give her support, she gives me support, and basically it's the two of us that make this happen. I couldn't do this by myself.
With 8 minutes to go, a furious Sheridan comeback eats into Humber's big lead.
Call that!
The coach sees the game slipping away.
Timeout.
Sheridan's comeback is short-lived. The Hawks go on the offensive. And win by a convincing margin. Junior scores 20 points and is selected player of the game. Chris and Marcel combined for 35 points. And their first big win together.
It's just a lot of love. Like, there's a lot of love I just have for him. It just makes me feel real good to have him around me. I know I'm doing good if I have Marcel around me.
For Coach Cates, the day doesn't end with the win. Quentin and Stacy have to leave their apartment. They have 2 days to find a place to live.
Spoke to my dad, and my dad he's not gonna help me at all.
Okay, so go somewhere else. Do you have the money to pay for rent?
Right now, it doesn't seem. I don't have anything for that. I don't know.
And where are you going to stay?
I don't know.
Where's your girlfriend going to stay? Okay, so what you do is by Thursday you give me every option you have. I think I have some things too that we can help out from this end, and we'll find out what's the best short-term course of action. All right? But go to your class, tell your girlfriend that something's going to work out. So I won't see you tomorrow in practice, but I'll see you Thursday for the meeting right after class and the game. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
It's the first week in December. There are only 2 more weeks left in the term. Final exams are coming up. But for the Humber College Hawks, there is no let-up on practice. Next week, they will play 3 games. They intend to win them all. The Hawks are one of Canada's top college basketball teams. This season, they're determined to win the national championship. But rookie Quentin McLeod has more pressing matters to deal with. Last week, he and his girlfriend Stacy had to move. They had hoped Humber could help.
We spoke to Coach, and he was suggesting shelters and other places, but I wasn't comfortable leaving Stacy by herself in a shelter. I was in a shelter once before. That's when my mom and my dad first broke up, And I don't want to relive that experience again, so wherever we're going to be, we're just going to be together.
Quentin and Stacy are staying with friends, for now. They've been on their own for 3 months. Stacy is finishing high school. That's where they met.
It was just cute. It was just so handsome to me. I was like, whoa, breathtaking by it.
It was just her smile, her face. She had like a glow and everything, and it just caught me in my eye.
Soon the pair were inseparable. It made things difficult for Stacy at home.
My mom thought that I was too young to know what love is, basically.
Stacy was born in Jamaica. When she was 9, she came to Canada to be reunited with her mother.
Ever since I came to Canada, I never really got along with my mother. Never had any dialogue, really. And it just got worse.
The family crisis came to a head at Stacy and Quentin's high school prom. Stacy went with Quentin, against her mother's wishes. Her mother was furious. She went to the prom to bring her daughter home.
And she came to the prom, started arguing and everything. And the teacher came in and goes, "At least let your daughter stay to get crowned prom queen." That's when I found out that I was the prom queen. I was like, whoa. And it wasn't really like shocking news. I was like, nice, you know? Because I was like scared of what my mom would say. And she said, oh, this is one crown she's not going to receive.
Stacy refused to leave.
She got upset and said, like, basically, if you don't come home at all. And that's where it all ended.
I told her that, like, you know, if anything happened, she can stay with me.
Stacy moved in with Quentin and his mother. But Quentin was having his own problems at home.
I was living with my mom. Things between us weren't going so well. She had a new boyfriend, changing the way things used to be. It was more like he's part of the family and I wasn't. I'm just staying there. And I didn't really take a liking to that, and it showed. You know, she basically told me, like, you know, this is the best man in her life, and she's not willing to separate or take my side over him. Well, my mom came to me one day and said, I got an ultimatum: either I straighten up or I got to the end of the summer to do what I gotta do to find my place and move out.
Quentin was determined that he and Stacy would stay together.
I dedicated like the summer of working and saving money so that we can move out on our own, and that's what we done. Stuck to my word. I mean, I done a lot.
Tonight, Humber is playing the University of Toronto. It's not a league game, but a win will keep Humber in the running for the prestigious Raptor Cup. The Raptor Cup was established 3 years ago by the NBA's Toronto Raptors. It's a tournament for basketball supremacy among Toronto's universities and colleges.
It's a good tournament, and it carries a significant amount of weight, and it would be a great tournament to do well in.
Humber has never won the Raptor Cup. They have to win tonight and then beat 3 other teams to make it to the final. It's early in the game. Humber and the university team are trading baskets. But midway through the first half, the Hawks jump out to a big lead.
Number 33, 24 guard in the game, Gordon Hawks.
Coach Cates puts Quentin into the game. Quentin is the third-string point guard. He intends to move up in the rotation. Fitzroy Woolery is one of the team's most promising newcomers.
Listen, this guy's got tremendous athleticism. You don't see players like that. Every once in a while, there's a player who can jump as well as he does and excite the crowd.
Fitz came to Canada from Jamaica when he was 9. He soon fell in love with basketball.
You know, I was 11. I bought a basketball. I remember I bought a Magic Johnson basketball at Zeller's. And that whole summer, like 8 hours a day, I would stay in the courtyard just practicing.
By high school, Fitz was a star, and basketball became the center of his life.
I like the feeling of the games. I love, dunking and hearing everybody say, "Oh!" I love people watching me play. That drives me. So the whole emotional aspect of it, I love it.
Searching for the right place to play ball, he tried 2 other colleges before coming to Humber.
I love it here. And so far, it's the best one I've been to. Everybody's good. The faculty is good. The coaching is good. I'm really enjoying that. And I'll break it down for it.
Okay, you gotta break it.
Yeah.
He may not be able to stay.
That's what I'm having trouble with. I'm a negative 2.5. And negative 8x squared plus 18.
Fitz needs to pass all his courses to remain at Humber, but he's failing math.
Teacher's feedback was that he was doing fine, and then he's just stopped handing in assignments and stopped going.
I lost focus in school because, once again, the basketball. Basketball. I wanted to do really well in basketball. And so I put more energy into basketball than I did in my schoolwork. And that affected me a lot. Squared.
Good. Now what?
Right now I need to pass my math. So the coach is tutoring me.
You've got that. You have to obey the sign.
Coach Cates is also a teacher and academic tutor to the varsity
Don't say
athletes.
It's minus 8x.
Squared.
Good. Now what?
I need a 95 or above on this next test to be eligible for next semester.
Too much angle. Go off it.
Humber starts the second half with a 19-point lead. The University of Toronto attempts a comeback. But Humber keeps the pressure up. Fitz is having one of his best games of the season.
Count to 3, Fitzroy Woolery.
The University of Toronto can't keep up. It's a decisive win for Humber. The final score, Humber 82, U of T 60. Fitzroy is named Player of the Game.
Fitzroy Woolery.
Humber is one step closer to the Raptor Cup. In the week following the University of Toronto game, the Hawks cruised to easy victories over 2 more Raptor Cup opponents. The competition is about to get tougher. Next week they face the Ryerson Rams. If they win, they will be in the Raptor Cup final. The coach wants to get in as much practice as possible. However, the players have other priorities. It's exam week. Many of the players are also working extra shifts to buy gifts for the holidays.
As a coach, you regret the fact that this is not coming at the best possible time to prepare your team.
The coach schedules 3 practices. Only a handful of players turn up. One, Rupert Thomas, makes it to practice, but won't be at the game. It's taking place 6 days before Christmas, and he wants to go home to Ottawa.
I've been home I haven't seen my mom in about 2 months. I think I'm starting to miss her.
He hesitates telling the coach.
Okay, and why do you want to go home?
Why do I want to go home?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my mom needs me home. I was there in 2 months, since Thanksgiving.
And she wants you home?
Yeah, she wants me to come home for a little bit.
And if that's what you want to do, that's okay. Now, the fact that you're forsaking the team, and that we need you against Ryerson. What do you think? You're going to get up? Nothing here? No guilt? All right.
Tonight, the long-awaited matchup with Ryerson. The coach wants a strong start.
Back pick.
But Ryerson's outside shooting gives them the early lead.
Come on, guys, win your offense.
Humber's shooters can't find the mark. Ryerson threatens to take control of the game. But Humber hangs tough. At halftime, the Hawks have narrowed the Rams' lead to 4 points.
Come on, Fitz, play him hard.
Ryerson comes out firing at the start of the second half. Humber is struggling.
Come on, pick him up.
Midway through the half, Ryerson powers to a 15-point lead.
Move it!
The coach hopes Quentin can help turn the game around. For the first time in weeks, Quentin's focus is squarely on the game. A few days ago, he and Stacy found a place to live. It's a basement apartment, which they will share with 2 other tenants. They are both working part-time to pay the rent. Quentin calls his dad to ask help in retrieving his belongings from storage.
Hey, Daddy. You know a time that you'd be ready to come, or if you'll be here around 12. Okay. So you get hit.
Lady didn't see my door open and tried to take
Quentin's parents separated when he was 7. He was raised by his mother. Although he doesn't see her now, he has always maintained a relationship with his father.
Me and my father have a strong bond with one another. We're very much alike. My birthday, well, I was born on February 13th. He was born February 11th. So my dad and I usually share our birthdays on the same day, which is special.
my trust that way, and you can carry some dresser that way. You make up your mind how you want to get it. He's the only one comes. When the others don't want to come, his older sister and his younger brother, he always comes. Anything he wants.
When Quentin and Stacy were looking for a place, Quentin asked his father if they could stay with him. His father's response was not what he expected. He was willing to take Quentin in, but not Stacy. Quentin rejected the offer. He wouldn't leave Stacy.
I've been sticking through him from the beginning. I'm the only son that speaks to him. I mean, he still turned us down from staying with him and forced us to deal with a difficult situation. I'm still pretty much upset with that.
With 7 minutes left in the game, Humber goes on the attack. The momentum is shifting. Ryerson's 15-point lead collapses. Humber's rally puts them back in the game and keeps their Raptor Cup hopes alive. With only a few minutes left in the game, Humber draws to within 3 points of Ryerson. But they can't get any closer. In the end, Humber's comeback falls short. They lose by 7. Their run for the Raptor Cup is over.
I think the lesson is we got a lot of work to do, and this is the kind of basketball you're going to see when it counts in 2.5 months.
At the national championships, that's the prize the team really wants.
Okay, Hawks, 1, 2, 3. Hawks!
Quentin and Stacy are settling into their new home.
I put it over here. I'm grateful that he's there for me, because if he wasn't there for me, I don't know where I would be right now.
The one thing that keeps me going every day is a girl who I see every morning and go to sleep every night. She means everything to me. She's my whole world. That's my whole reason of continuing and going on as I am.
The first term has ended. Exams are over. Fitzroy has passed his math exam, but he didn't get 95. Fitz will have to leave Humber. unless the coach can persuade the college to give him a second chance. But first, Fitz has to convince the coach to go to bat for him.
Do you think you can do this?
The work is no problem for me to do. You know, I'm not a stupid guy.
No, I don't think you are. So where do you go wrong?
I just don't focus too much on the work. See, I figured I knew the work enough, you know, to not do homework and get by. That's what I've always done. I passed the test, passed a few tests.
So where did it catch up with you?
Now.
If that happens again, you're done.